Welcome into the CHGO White Sox podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me is the full CHGO White Sox crew. We got Vinnie Duber, our CHGO White Sox beat writer. On the far left, you can follow him at Vinnie Duber. The man in the middle is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. You can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Sarah is our producer.
Hi.
And you, the audience, are joining us. Make sure that you participate by hitting the thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and hey, if you're there, why not comment? We'd love to see what you have to say. It's very fun that you get to control that. You could say whatever you'd like in the comment section there.
And we can read it.
Yeah. If we want.
Keep it cordial.
Right. I mean, hey, you know, if it's something too silly, maybe we keep it in the comment section.
Well, we'll read it, I guess is the point.
That's
I'm
true.
saying
Maybe
we
not
won't necessarily read it aloud, but we will read it.
It's true. We will read it. We will process the information.
Yes.
As we will also process the information that Rawlings now has Gold Glove finalists. We will distill that information and give you the important White Sox bits of that. Bit, yeah. One thing. And it's shocker, it's Luis Robert Jr. Then we'll be going into our report cards for the next position. We just did catcher yesterday. Yasmani Grandal / Corey Lee / Carlos Perez.
Don't forget NLC Sebi.
And NLC Sebi. We didn't really talk much about NLC Sebi.
It doesn't seem like he's going to be NLC Sebi for much longer, I got to be honest. The way the fight Phils are plugging it up.
You don't think that it's going to change now that it goes back to Arizona with $10 tickets?
I mean, I think the D-backs were a good team, but this Phillies club is buzzsawing their way through the National League playoffs, aren't they?
How embarrassing. $10 tickets. But
why? That's good.
It's good, but like, you know, you have to lure your crowd in, but with low discounted prices.
You should just be jealous that Diamondbacks fans get to go to a playoff game for an Alexander Hamilton.
I mean, so did the Tampa Bay Rays, but they're like, nah, we're only 19,000 was going to go. But if the Phillies pack their bets, I don't see why they would have problems with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, they beat their two top pitchers.
Soundly.
Yeah, I mean, last night I thought that they were just, you know, Schwarber with the 2 home runs. And then when the bullpen came in, man, floodgates just opened up. Must be nice, man. Just have people just hitting the ball over the fence. And when they don't, they just hit doubles. Well, and then when they don't, they get singles and then steal second. Man,
and score 10 runs.
Yeah. And then have top of the rotation, 2 top of the rotation pitchers, and then Roger Suarez pitching like that in the playoffs.
I had playoff talk for later. Do you guys want to get into playoff talk now?
We can do playoff talk later. We can bookend this thing.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Herb can talk about Ranger Suarez later.
Texas Ranger Suarez.
Let's jump into the news of the day, I guess. We, alluded to it, and we'll give you the full news now. 3 finalists have been announced for the Centerfield Gold Glove Award for 2023. Rawlings announced the finalists, and for center fielder,
in the American League.
Yeah. And they did it in the National League, too.
They did.
But,
we don't care about that.
White Sox are only in the American League.
Senior circuit? Get out of here. This is a junior circuit show.
All right. First off, finalist from the Toronto Blue Jays center fielder Kevin Kiermaier. Second finalist from the Seattle Mariners, Julio Rodriguez. And third, number 88 from your Chicago White Sox, Luis Robert Jr. is a finalist. First time he's been a finalist since his rookie year when he won the award.
I believe so, yeah.
So
I mean, as we've talked about, the defense the last 2 years did not really look the same as it did during the rookie year in 2020 and the way it did this year in 2023.
So we're not super shocked because kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago. You tweeted out the link. So not super shocked even by these 3 being the finalists. now we just hold our breaths and see if he's the winner. It's not really something that we could put our minds to that much. 25% of the award is a sabermetrician vote, so I think it's taken from defensive run saves in the fielding Bible. So like 25% of the award's taken from that, but then I think the 75% is just up to the managers and how they vote. So we just got to wait. Probably got one vote, you'd hope, from Pedro.
Yeah, and it might do Luis some good because of Kiermaier's in Toronto. You have Seattle for Rodriguez, so you have people who are extreme time zones.
It's just too far north, the both of them.
Exactly. And then, you see Luis Robert. He had a good year, both offensively and defensively. He was a single focus of the White Sox, so that is a good thing for his case. But I'm just looking at the fielding Bible DRS leaderboard. Kiermaier should win this by a landslide because his defensive run saved was at 18, and while Luis Robert, not too shabby himself, it was at 6.
Yikes, that's a gap right there. All right. Yeah, just to add on to that, too, with outs above average from StatCast, Kiermaier at 13, Robert at 13, J-Rod at 12. So all around the same there with StatCast. The one thing to prop up Luis Robert Jr., out of these finalists, he's the only player with 2 5-star catches of 5-star difficulty with a catch percentage of 25% or less. J-Rod only had 1 out of 18 opportunities. Kiermaier had 1 out of 11. Luis Robert had 2 of 23. He also had 7 4-star opportunities. Him and Kiermaier were tied for 7. And he also had 18 3-star opportunities. So overall, I think he had the most 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star opportunities if you combine all those together. So maybe there's a case to be made that he's making a higher difficulty of catches, but I don't know. He was always fun to watch. I mean, was there a favorite catch?
I think the first weekend of the season, the one that he made sliding on the warning track, going into left center field in Houston. Mm-hmm. That play was unbelievable. He obviously robbed many home runs, including one in that series, but he robbed many home runs over the course of the year. It really became commonplace when he would go to the wall and take a homer away from somebody. But that play he made on the third or fourth day of the season in Houston, it was unbelievable. And it really, to me, it is the representation of the defining characteristic of what makes Luis Robert Jr. so good defensively, and it's the ability to cover ground. I mean, the range that this guy has and the way he makes it look easy. I mean, you talk to players and they say, man, he's so amazing, but you don't take it for granted because you know how good he is. I can tell you that White Sox fans and people that watch White Sox games every day take it for granted that Luis Robert Jr. is going to make some of the catches he makes because he makes it look so easy. This is a guy who not just makes the spectacular plays, but makes all of the plays that he's supposed to make as well, which is, I don't think, something that could be said maybe certainly in 2022, but in 2021 as well. So to see him make an improvement, I think, again, needs to be trumpeted as well, because this isn't just a guy who shows up to the park every day, ho-hum, look how good at defense he is. He obviously had to work on some stuff from the last couple of years to now. He said he was working on balls at the wall with the now since departed Darryl Boston, who was the Sox outfield coach until last week. But if he wins that award, he's very, very deserving of that award. So are the other 2 guys, which is why they announced these finalists. It's not like you're ever going to be like, it's going to be a guy who deserves to win it and 2 other bums who can't play defense. Like, there's a reason you're a finalist for a Gold Glove award. Kiermaier obviously has the reputation as being a defensive whiz, and Julio Rodriguez is a breakout season for him in terms of becoming just an all-around star in this game. So he's up against some tough competition, but boy, he was fun to watch play center field all year long, and if he gets a second Gold Glove in 4 years, hats off to him, because he very much played in a way that deserves it.
I think it's so anticlimactic how they do this whole process. Announcing them now, good. But then they have the winner pretty much on Zoom on MLB Network and say, oh, yeah, you won, just like Jose Abreu when he won his MVP. Different circumstances. We were in the COVID year. But I would love for them to have whatever the host city is or whatever the host cities are, have the awards given out during the World Series. That's your showplace. Give out those awards at the same time. They do that for the NFL during the Super Bowl. They give out their MVP, etc. awards the day before the Super Bowl. I would want them to do it before that. And as far as his favorite catch, the one in Toronto was awesome. Just where he just goes back and robs the home run, does it in front of Kevin Kiermaier and says, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. I'm going to regain my Gold Glove that I won in 2020. And as Vinny said, like 2021 and 2022 kind of gave you some pause. You're like, did we just see the anomaly in 2020? And these are the real Luis Robert defensive? Good, not great. This year he returned to form and he was back to being great. And as I said before, it seems like he has worked on the going back to the wall, going laterally, going right, left, going over the wall, and not afraid of it, timing out his steps. And so, yeah, his game is improved both on offense and defense. And I'm just looking for the next improvement for when he's like laying off pitches off the zone, which he did a lot this year, and then just becoming an all-around best player, MVP caliber player, which he wasn't this year. He was close, but there's so many good players, and Shohei Ohtani's going to have that award until he moves to the National League.
Right, yeah, and I mean, hey, maybe Luis Robert Jr. has a chance next year if Ohtani's not pitching. I mean, as long as Ohtani's pitching
Who's
and
Ohtani
hitting,
going to be playing for?
I don't know, but I'm saying, like, if he's in the American League, I mean, like, that's at least the one, like, he's kind of handicapped here. You know, it's kind of like, you know, playing with a, what's it called in golf? I don't play golf. Isn't it a handicap?
A handicap, yeah.
Right. So, I don't know.
I would also, too, shout out, were you going to list a catch?
I was going to list two. It was just on the wall. There was one in Cleveland, too. We went to rob a home run, going back in the bright sun, going up against the wall, colliding against it. And then August, Mike Ford was up, hits it deep into the gap, a skying fly ball off Tanner Banks. And, of course, there's Luis Robert Jr. just, like, colliding into the wall awkwardly, but at full speed.
Let's also, too, shout out the diving play in Baltimore. That was reminiscent of what he did in Kansas City back in 2020. That deserves a shout-out as well.
And this one, of course, is in, like, a 7-1 game. So he's, like, colliding into the field when they're down 6 runs. It's stop doing that.
Did we get either the 5-star catches that he made, you said?
I can't find those specifically. I would assume because I think that Sarah Lanks tweeted about the one from April 2nd, and I would assume that one where it's the hit from Kyle Tucker, 113 miles per hour off the bat, into the left center gap, making the sliding catch. I think that's one of the 5 stars.
Just ridiculous catch.
I'm trying to find
where
those are, but
like that made me feel so good because we're playing well. The White Sox were playing well. Yoan was hitting home runs. Defensive plays like that, we're back to being, fundamentally sound. We take 2 out of 4 from the Houston Astros, and I was like, here we go. We got something going. We got something cooking. And then, injuries and et cetera happened, but, man, that first series got us hyped up.
And then it was all downhill.
Then they're like, we're going to lose 99 more games.
Yeah. We'll take a break, and we'll talk about, how that all happened. We'll talk about one of the players that led to the White Sox offense just not showing up in 2023. That wasn't Luis Robert Jr.'s fault, but we'll be obviously following if he does win the Gold Glove for the second time in his career. Did you feel like it was a better year than 2020?
Yeah. Absolutely, I did.
Full year.
I mean, certainly it was obviously 100 more games, but just like we were talking about, the improvement. You know what I mean? I think that you saw a guy go from, man, he's a hell of an athlete and he can cover a whole hell of a lot of ground, to, oh, look at the plays he's making because he has worked at this and he knows the read of the ball and how to play against the wall. He was making plays that an experienced baseball player makes, and whereas 2020 we got a flash of, wow, the athlete. Mm-hmm. Now we've got, wow, the defender.
And it's not like he did make a lot of plays that are boneheaded in 21 and 22, but he cut down on the extra throw, the nonsense. Like if he would, a runner be advanced to the third, throwing the ball right to the cutoff man and the line drive, so the guy can cut the ball off instead of airmailing. We saw so many times this year from Oscar Cola specifically doing that. And so that's how you become the outfielder that he's become by doing all the spectacular stuff. But when it comes to just the regular fundamentals things, you hone that craft also.
Let's remember, too, last year he had blurred vision. He was playing with blurred vision in the middle of the season because of that vitamin deficiency or whatever he had. So I think there were health things that factored into what he looked like last year as a defender. But the routes weren't the same. The amount of ground he was covering wasn't the same. And obviously playing balls up against the wall, which, hey, he went to school on and figured it out because he's Gold Glove caliber this year.
Yeah.
Sean, he had vertigo.
He did.
Uno, dos, tres, catorce.
And that's not how it goes. I don't think they learned how to count in Spanish.
That's how the song goes, though.
Yeah.
You take that up with Bono this weekend.
I bet I'll get to chat with
That's how they teach it in Ireland.
That opening to that song is kind of like Rafael Palmeiro winning the Gold Glove in 1999 after playing 28 games at first base. Like you were talking about, they're finalists for a reason. But then
not always, but now, yeah.
Right, I always think of the Rafael Palmeiro thing. All right, we'll take a quick break, and then we'll get into first base. Funny enough, with Rafael Palmeiro being Gold Glover at first base, we'll give Andrew Vaughn his report card for 2023. Want to let you know, though, about our friends over at Sunnyside. Sunnyside is your home for Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kind of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your football season, no matter where you are in your cannabis journey. They have easy online ordering and in-store pickup to make it easy for you, and with their great transparent loyalty program, their Sunnyside Rewards, you'll be rewarded for all the purchases you make with our friends over at Sunnyside. They are Illinois' favorite dispensary. Herb's tried out the River North one. We've tried out the Wrigleyville one. Mm-hmm. Tried out the Elmwood Park one. You could even
Herb, are you ticking them all off? Like, I've got a national parks bucket list by the end of life. You want to go to all of them? Do you want to go to all of the Sunnyside locations?
I mean, South Beloit is not that far away. I mean, while I'm in South Beloit, I can go down to CIRCA and Waukegan and come on back home. But, there's one like in Champaign. I don't think I'll ever make it to Champaign. Didn't it say the most southern one is like Champaign or something?
Yeah, there's one in Champaign, and I think there's one in Danville. So you can knock those two off together. I would like to see Herb. You go whenever Herb finally has us over. Hasn't yet.
Wow, Herb, rude.
Yeah, right. I can't wait to see.
I haven't had an invite either.
What the hell?
No one wants to hang out.
I'm picturing a Sunnyside map of Illinois, and it's just all those like red
those little pins. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I'll put a little leaf there.
You can check out their House of Brands when you go there, whether it be Mindy's, Good News, Cresco, High Supply, Floricale, Wonder, or Remedy. And through October 31st, ooh, spooky, head to sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. One use per customer. It's not stackable with other promotions, and that's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your football season. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois MedCard holder. Again, use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order at sunnyside.shop until October 31st. Finally, before we get into Andrew Vaughn here, Herb and I have been very lucky to try some Hero Bread. I got the seeded bread. You got the tortillas.
I did.
I made a little avocado toast yesterday and this morning. Very lovely. A nice ripe avocado, some crisp bacon, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. It was very nice. Had a little
bam
spindrift. Bam. But it's very nice because I know that you have certain needs that you need to be met dietary-wise. And I just liked it because it tastes like good, normal bread.
And that's what I was like. The flour tortilla tastes exactly like a flour tortilla, not like a thing that has zero net carbs, which for me as a type 2 diabetic is a good thing. That means my blood sugar doesn't spike that tough, which is one of the things that bread usually makes it happen.
And Hero Bread is a hero and doesn't do that for you. You can use code CHGO for 10% off at hero.co. Hero Bread is offering the CHGO fam 10% off their first order. Just go to hero.co and use code CHGO to save on Hero Bread today. That's HERO.co to save 10% today. It was a fantastic way for me to start my morning. And again, it was, I don't have any dietary needs like Herb, but again, it's not throwing off my routine. My routine's normal, having my normal breakfast, and Hero Bread is there to, I guess, save the day because it's good. It's really good. All right. Let's get into Andrew Vaughn's report card for 2023. And can we scroll all the way up, Sarah, to the beginning? Where Jacob says, can't wait to see Sean's inane love for Vaughny. Is that bad?
No.
Was I that
No,
unbearable
you
throughout
shouldn't take
2023?
offense. It's just a poke.
No,
it's just a poke, Sean. We know you like Andrew Vaughn. You've got a whole yin yang thing with the Andrews.
You're off.
You love one Andrew, you hate the other Andrew. You maybe should just come more to the middle on both of them.
It's my yin and yang.
Yeah.
I just think that you last year in the offseason were professing that, hey, this Andrew Vaughn's going to be good eventually because the metrics say he's on a track to doing so. And I think during the season you've adjusted to what he actually did.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is like the metrics, I could still see the metrics, right? Like the metrics that I was seeing in the offseason last year, I was like, ooh, he might be doing, X, Y, Z. And then, yeah, he couldn't hit a slider. That was true. Really struggled with that. And then he also just stopped hitting fastballs. And as a righty, doesn't really hit that well against lefties, so he doesn't really enjoy a platoon advantage. So I'm left wondering in 2023 what Andrew Vaughn is. Before we get into the grades, because we had probably a different grading of Andrew Vaughn here, why don't we get into this? Vinny, do you remember your grades that you gave?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I do remember them, yes.
I could read them off just because we were all fairly far off.
We were all over the place.
Yes.
Vinny gave Vaughn for offense a C+.
Yes.
Herb gave him a D.
Yes.
I gave him a D-. Vinny gave him a B+ for defense. Herb gave him an F for defense. I gave him a D for defense.
D for defense.
D for defense.
Right.
Let's go defense.
Defense.
Defense. But if you want to flash the report cards, the overall grades, offense we gave him a D, defense we gave him a C-. Overall, Andrew Vaughn got a D. I don't know if this conversation needs to take place, but this is where I feel like if you joined us last for a conversation before the season even started, it would be centered around him replacing Jose Abreu.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not even a storyline. It's not even relevant. Jose Abreu was not going to get that money from the White Sox, and he was looking for something else, and Andrew Vaughn was going to play those games at first base no matter what. Like, it wasn't really Andrew Vaughn replacing Jose Abreu, just Jose Abreu's time in Chicago was done.
That is true. Let's put it this way. It was not Andrew Vaughn's job for Andrew Vaughn to replace Jose Abreu. In no world was he I don't believe he was thinking that under any circumstance, and nobody should have expected him to try to do that. Because guess what? Andrew Vaughn was already here. He just needed to be Andrew Vaughn, which, to be fair, we had not seen the expected Andrew Vaughn yet, I don't think. He was good last year. He was not blow you away good last year, though. This year, took a step back, the numbers say, and certainly he was right around a league average hitter. He did play more games, and I think it was almost 30 more games or something like that than he played the year before. He walked slightly more. He struck out a lot more. The power numbers were not what anybody expected them to be. But the thing with Jose Abreu is the White Sox put Andrew Vaughn in the position of having to replace Jose Abreu. They put Eloy Jimenez in the position of having to replace Jose Abreu because they didn't go out and get somebody to replace Jose Abreu. They said, not only will our hitters be good as we think they would be, they will be so good that we won't even miss Jose Abreu because the production is going to be absolutely fantastic. It didn't turn out that way, whether you thought it was going to or not. But on top of it all, they didn't go out and get a power hitter, a guy who could produce the way Abreu produced for the entirety of his White Sox tenure. So I do agree with you. It's beside the point that Jose Abreu and Andrew Vaughn played the same position. Don't even worry about that. But on top, what happened was Andrew Vaughn didn't play that well. He didn't hit very well. I gave him a decent grade on defense because I didn't think he did anything wrong. I wasn't looking at the numbers. Perhaps they were not very kind to him on defense, but I didn't see him making all these mistakes as a guy who was playing first base at a full-time job for the first time in his major league career. I didn't see a guy who was overwhelmed. He had notably, and I think people pointed out and even started to make fun on social media and our comments, There's that one play down the line that Abreu made every single time that Andrew Vaughn hardly made at all. But really, I mean, you think about it, the difference in size of those two guys, I would not have been surprised if TA and Moncada were throwing the ball over his head constantly. That didn't happen. He didn't make any mistakes really in that, or not a lot of them anyway, in that department. He fielded his position very well, I thought. So I thought defensively he was fine, and offensively he was average by a league standard. And so the grades that I gave were in a vacuum, right? But certainly if you're talking about the expectations, number 3 pick in the draft, top prospect, skipping minor league levels left and right. The opinion that the White Sox have of Andrew Vaughn is to be, for lack of a better term, a Jose Abreu type, middle of the order, carry your lineup type guy. And we have not seen anything close to that in 3 years of him playing at the big league level. Not to say that it can't happen, right? I mean, as Pedro keeps pointing out, this guy's young. He's just at the beginning of his major league career. That's fine. But the White Sox are leaning on him now. The White Sox want him to be that guy. I should say the White Sox could use him to be that guy now, the way their team is built, and he's not that guy right now. Maybe he will be next year, but we have not seen anything like that. So if you're grading on the scale of how close was Andrew Vaughn to what he was expected to be, then your guys' grades are far more accurate, I would say, because he has not come close to meeting those expectations.
And with your point about defense, he caught every ball that was hit to him in his range, and that's kind of the point of how badly he was at defense, is that he didn't get to a lot of balls that other defensive first basemen like top of the league Christian Walker would get to. But offensively, year over year, he's pretty much the same player, if not slightly worse than he was last year, even though he hit more home runs. And just looking at the numbers year over year, his expected weight on base is lower. His K rate went up 4%. He struck out much more. His exit velocity is about the same, 89 to 90. So he didn't grow, really. He didn't move from, okay, I've been playing all these positions right and left, and now I'm comfortable and at first base. My legs are underneath me. I could be able to perform in first base. That's what the expectation was, at least from you, Sean. I think myself, I felt that way too, that, this year would be a year that he can concentrate all on offense and have the numbers that we expect him to have. I'm not expecting 35 home runs, maybe eventually, but 30 minimum for a first baseman is, I don't think, too much to ask, and he fell short of that. And it was never a time where I was like, all right, he's got it. He's got it locked in, and he's now about to take off. And that player that we've been promised of, Andrew Vaughn, hasn't come yet. He's been a decent hitter, but he hasn't been a great hitter that we have saw and that people said that would play immediately in the major leagues. And so these grades are from what he should do as a first baseman in the major leagues, and that's how I graded him. That's why I gave him a hard grade on the defense, because I think only 2 first basemen are worse in outs above average than Andrew Vaughn. And so you got to be better there. That's what Jose Abreu's charge was. I think you shared the story where Ricky Renteria told him, hey, man, you got to be better at first or you might have to move off. He got better at first, and that would led to his MVP season in 2020, and the home runs too. But we expect more from Andrew Vaughn, especially a quarter infielder should be hitting minimum 30 home runs, and that's why when we get to Yoan Moncada in a couple days, Vinny, it's going to be much worse than this because he was not good at all offensively, and I think that's going to drag his overall grade down. Andrew Vaughn's offense can get better. You can see the stair stepping, but I don't know how his defense actually does get better unless he makes those catches that Jose makes and he improves his range, which as a slow guy at 25, I don't see you getting faster when you keep on aging.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's not a good athlete, and that's, I think, what we've seen throughout his adventures in the outfield and now at first base. -5 outs above average, like you mentioned, tied with Spencer Torkelson. The only players below him with a minimum 500 innings, Alex Kirilloff, Tristan Casas, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Spencer Steer. And you look at the breakdown of his actual defense, -2 value going in on balls, going towards third base, -6, going towards first base, so kind of that foul area, -1. He's fine going back. positive one value, but other than that, he's pretty bad. Like there's just nowhere that he grades out well, and I don't know how.
But just like Vinny said, like when I see a ball hit to him, he's going to catch it for the most part. And if you're just looking at that, Andrew Vaughn's all right.
Well, what I was going to say is, like, I don't know how severely or how seriously, like, Pedro Grifol takes in outs above average for Andrew Vaughn and how much, he does pass the eye test for Pedro Grifol. But, I mean, it just, we see that consistent play, like, down the line. Like, he just doesn't make that over-the-shoulder catch. And maybe that's something that will come with more comfort. But he just doesn't seem to be athletic enough to be a major leaguer at this point, the more and more we see from him. And it's good to see that he put on the games played this year. But when you talk about his production from a first base level, Herb, 14 first basemen qualified, or at least had 500 plate appearances at first base. He was 12th. Only 3 had a weighted runs created plus under 100. It was Vaughn, Abreu, and Dominic Smith. It's just not a good category to be in. And again, like what we were sold on when he was the 3rd overall pick in 2019 was that he had a great ability to discern ball from strike, had a 500 on base percentage in college, and that has just kind of fallen off the table. When we look at the swing take and the heart, shadow, chase, waste.
There you go.
You look at 2021, he was worth negative 11 run value, negative 15 run value in the heart of the zone. In 2022, plus 16 run value, plus 6 run value in the heart of the zone. And then 2023, plus 1 run value, 0 run value in the heart of the zone. He just really never did his damage on pitches that he should have done. Like, it just never felt like he was confidently attacking the strike zone. It never felt like he was confidently attacking pitchers, and it always felt like he was behind the 8 ball. No matter if it was a green reliever or a veteran Brian Shaw on the mound or whatever.
Do you think that's an anomaly, or you think that's real? Because you just said the numbers that the years before. If he just goes back to those, he becomes a better hitter if he actually attacks the zone, in the heart of the zone.
I don't know. I mean, you look at the actual like swing and take percentages. He's still pretty passive. Like, he's not swinging enough, I would say, like when he needs to be. Like, so my pitch is like truly in the heart of the zone. I don't think he's swinging enough. His swing percentage can be higher. Like, you look at Corey Seager, and he's getting on base at a breakneck pace. And when pitches are in the heart of the zone, he's swinging 90% of the time. And when anything is outside of the heart of the zone, he has like extreme take percentages.
He's good.
He's extremely good. Right. Like, that's the thing with Andrew Vaughn is I just don't think he's that good. Like, I think that the more that we have seen from him, the more that you can actually game plan for Andrew Vaughn, the more that it shows that he might just not be that guy. Like, it might have been the wrong choice at 3rd overall at 2019. Because you look at Josh Young, who's playing 3rd base for the Rangers. He was taken 5 spots behind Andrew Vaughn in that same draft, and he's already contributing to a playoff team in the ALCS. So it's like, it's time for Andrew Vaughn to start giving something, and the more and more I see, just the less and less confident I get in him.
I hear what you're saying, but I also think his development was stunted a little bit by both the pandemic, where he had to be with the Schaumburg boys, and then they were just like, okay, come to the major leagues after a year at single A and play a position you're not familiar with. So I'll give him a little bit more leeway. Grading hard. This year was bad. But I think, and I think you feel that way too, that the future's still bright for Andrew Vaughn. But also it's a prove-it year in 2024 where it's like, should have get off the pot, brother. We might have to go somewhere else if you're just producing the same number that you did in 22 and 23 and 24. So I still have faith that he could be that guy. It's going to take some time, though. The numbers don't say that he'll be that guy next year, though.
I mean, they're not going to. It's his position.
He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, we're going to watch Andrew Vaughn again.
Yeah.
I hope the best for him. But
he's getting his chance. I mean, that goes for a lot of guys in this team, too. You know what I mean? Like, Moncada's getting his chance.
Yeah.
I'll say this when it comes to grading like this, though, I mean, Herb, you brought up the comparison with Moncada. Andrew Vaughn was healthy all year. Yeah. And, it's like I know White Sox fans are sick to death of excuses and the injury explanation, right? But Moncada was hurt all year. He didn't do anything. His offense was ugly, right?
Yep.
But he had a back injury all year. Andrew Vaughn didn't do much. Where's his excuse? Mm-hmm. And I mean, the last few years playing in the outfield, obviously, you could say, okay, the wear and tear that he sustained in the outfield could have an impact on the bat, sure. But here you go, 2023, you got what you wanted. You got to play the position that you're comfortable playing, and the offensive results not only weren't there, they were worse than they were the year before. The OPS plus was 10 points worse than it was in 2022. We saw flashes, and I'll go back. There was a question earlier on the side that said, outside of Robert, I think it was phrased, who were you most proud of? But, whose production was the most impressive, right?
Which of your sons
from
are you
William,
most proud
from William there, Sarah. Who were you most impressed with in 2023? The answer is that Luis Robert's the only person that put together a full season of good in 2023. Everything else you're picking at silver linings. And I think, you can say, well, Dylan Cease sure finished the year strong. Moncada sure finished the year strong. And you know what? There were glimpses from Andrew Vaughn. They weren't sustained, but there were glimpses. But that's really all we can do when we assess these guys outside of Robert is just say, well, if he could do what he did for that 3-week stretch, or what he could do for that, what he did a little bit in May and what he did a little bit in September, you stretch that out over the course of the season, okay, maybe. But that's going to be the explanation with a lot of guys. And, Andrew Vaughn was not, horrid to like some of the other guys were. You know what I mean? Go look at Tim Anderson's OPS plus. Go look at some of the numbers that were put up elsewhere in this lineup. We were talking about Yasmani Grandal yesterday, and we've got pretty decent being thrown around for a guy whose OPS plus was 70 something. It's all relative with these White Sox hitters. Andrew Vaughn was not the worst of the bunch, but he was far from impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Grandal, he was definitely graded on a curve, on a 34-year-old.
Well, you can grade all these guys on a curve, and their grades are still going to be bad.
Terrible.
Yeah, I guess is what we're saying, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Again, and that's the thing is Grandal. I think the biggest thing that if you asked Yasmani Grandal was that he finished the season healthy. Andrew Vaughn will be fine, I guess, that he finished the season healthy.
It's a plus.
He didn't. Yeah, but he's probably annoyed with his performance.
Absolutely.
The one thing that I did find interesting, and I think we'll probably talk about it after the break, was it did seem like Vaughn was seen as a leader. I don't know how important that is for 2024, and especially when building the future.
He was described as one by the general manager multiple times, certainly.
Well, and that guy got fired.
Or the former general manager, I should say, yeah.
So I don't know how ringing of an endorsement that is, but we'll talk about it in a second. Vaughn, the one thing that does concern me too, he never had an OPS. His OPS was never above 800 after April 21st. So it was 814, and it was under.
He hit that walk-off home run against the Rays. That was probably the best moment of the Sox season, right?
And that was his first homer off a lefty in a year.
Ages. The Soto home last year.
Mm-hmm. Not good. Let's take a break. We'll let you know about some of our great sponsors, like FOCO. We have some great decorations that were donated by FOCO. We got the Southpaw one there. We got the Tim Anderson one there. Even the immaculate inning Hayden Wisniewski bobblehead over there for any Cubs fans. Maybe you're just trying to...
Exactly.
Maybe you're trying to terrorize a Cubs fan in your life. And you just want to be like, here's a Hayden Wisniewski bobblehead. FOCO has you covered with all the best sports gear around. Hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. They get real niche over there.
Don't forget that Yoan Moncada Game of Thrones bobblehead.
There's the Yoan Moncada Game of Thrones bobblehead. There's the Andrew Benintendi Arkansas Woo Pig Suey bobblehead.
Pig Suey.
There's a ton to check out at foco.com. Got, again, set decorations that were donated. We got some crazy, wacky overalls for a ton of teams.
Andrew Vaughn right there. You see that Andrew Vaughn, that second one guy? Sorry.
Good grief.
Nice.
My bad.
Check out FOCO.com, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below for online pre-sale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off.
Stephen Gottfried was asking about some actor, and I looked him up. I was like, yeah, I guess so. But yeah, Charlie Brown looks much more like Andrew Vaughn.
What's happening there? What are those?
Those slides?
Are those fingers?
Where are those slides right there?
They're flip flops.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No one can see what you're looking at.
Here's
now,
a Southpaw
is riding a dragon.
Southpaw riding a dragon bobblehead. That's
Very
fun.
cool.
This is Game of Thrones?
This is so cool. No, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Oh, it is
Mascot.
Game. This
Fire
is so
dragon.
cool.
See, if Southpaw was in Game of Thrones, I'd
Oh,
tune
it's
in.
sold out. Of
If
course,
Southpaw
this is sold out.
Was he ever the king of the North or whatever?
King
Who?
of the South Side.
King of the South Side.
See?
Doesn't have the same ring. Anyways.
I love their website. It's so fun to look at.
It's fun to get lost on. FOCO.com. Want to let you know, too, about our friends over at CIRCA Sportsbook. They got a ton that you can bet on, especially with the Blackhawks playing tomorrow. So make sure that you are downloading the CIRCA Sportsbook app at circasports.com/Illinois-app. Their big thing that they want to get you betting on is their low hold model. Games strive to be a -110 split on the CIRCA menu, unlike CIRCA Sportsbooks, or unlike other sportsbooks, which may use a -115 or -120 split. Basically, you are getting you're paying less vig. You're giving less to CIRCA Sportsbook. If it's -115 and you're betting $25, you'd get like my math's probably off, but it's like $23.26. Well, with -110, it's like $24. So why give CIRCA or whatever sportsbook more money?
It's very generous to them.
Right. That happens because they hold as little as money as possible on larger market bets like futures, golf tournaments, especially compared to other books. And their customer service is top notch. They have real people behind the CIRCA Sports brand, which resolves issues in a timely fashion, unlike other books, which uses chat bots. And all aspects of the bet app are being run by the same team that runs the main CIRCA Sportsbook at CIRCA Resort and Casino in Las Vegas. Again, download the CIRCA Sports app at circasports.com/Illinois-app to sign up today. Also be on the lookout for CIRCA events, watch parties, and tailgates. We got one on the 22nd coming up, Bears and Raiders on Sunday. Go check out allchgo.com/events for tickets for that. We got all-you-can-drink Goose Island, all-you-can-eat Firewater barbecue, and CIRCA will be there, too, to help you get set up with your app if you are having any difficulties. And if some of you know, may have a problem with gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537, or text GMB 833-234, or visit areyoureallywinning.com. Finally, just want to let you know about our Die Hard program. You get this nice box when you sign up. Go to allchgo.com. You can go click the Die Hard tab. Die Hards get 20% off to our lovely events. So if you do want to come check out our tailgate with all-you-can-drink Goose Island, all-you-can-eat Firewater barbecue, you can go get the Die Hard program. You get a free T-shirt when you sign up. You get a nice little membership card. You get some stickers as well, some nice swag with the Die Hard membership. You get 20% off to events. You get access to our lounge, the CHGO Discord, and you get premium written content at allchgo.com from our great beat writers. I think Jay Zawoski just posted a Blackhawks newsletter that's for diehards only. So if you aren't already, go to allchgo.com, sign up to be a diehard today. And at that tailgate, for the next 3 tailgates, X Golf will be giving a $200 gift certificate to any of their Chicagoland locations. Find the nearest X Golf near you at playxgolf.com/Chicagoland. So if you are a diehard and you haven't come out yet, or you got tickets and you're coming out, make sure you check out the X Golf event kind of set up there and see if you can be the winner of the $200 gift certificate. Okay. So Andrew Vaughn, seen as a leader by former GM Rick Hahn. Does that mean he's going to be a part of the team if he has a bad 2024 and 2025? Like, if he has the same production next year, maybe even worse, like, do they look to cut him?
I don't think they're looking to. I think Andrew Vaughn is firmly in the plans for the future at this point in time. If another season like this happens after next year, that conversation could well change. But think about this: Andrew Vaughn is not expensive.
No,
Andrew Vaughn is one of those core players. He's getting more expensive, but he's one of those core players who is not signed to a long-term contract. He's not going to get a jack-up in salary like Yohan Moncada is getting, like Luis Robert will be getting, like Eloy Jimenez will be getting. It's not costing the White Sox, basically, relatively speaking, anything to keep him around. And really, the thing comes to what Jacob says right there. Andrew Vaughn is far from the White Sox biggest problem right now. Keeping Andrew Vaughn in place is not the thing that is going to prevent the White Sox from winning, in 2024 or 2025. Now, we can get further down that road if other guys start playing a lot better and he does emerge as a weak link, then sure. But right now, you're going to get a new hitting coach coming in. And that person's got to fix a lot of guys. Andrew Vaughn being one of them. But as we talk about the future right now, I think Andrew Vaughn's the first baseman, period, full stop. And, like I said, that could change. But it's a prove-it year for everybody, absolutely. He's one of those guys. And he's got to go out and prove that he is worthy of that being the case. And it's not just, there's nobody else to come take his place, so he's going to have to be there. He's got to go out and prove that he deserves the title of a guy who's not going anywhere.
Like the White Sox will be giving him all the chances to prove that he is the guy because, as Vinny says, he's relatively inexpensive. He'll be hitting arbitration for the first time this offseason. Won't be making a lot of money in that first go-around. But real first baseman that you have to go out and sign costs real money. And so
a lot of it, usually.
Exactly. And so if Andrew Vaughn can prove to them that he is the right guy that they picked at the 3 spot in that draft and starts lifting those offensive numbers, the defensive numbers don't really matter. As Vinny said, he caught everything that was hit at him. He pretty much, every throw, there was never anything that was hit over his head or thrown over his head. He was fine to the eye. And so I think that his offense will carry his numbers forward. And so he'll never really be a great defensive player. And so he just needs to sell out a little bit more. He needs to hit more home runs. Somebody was talking about Kyle Schwarber last night, and they're like, well, his average is below 200. I'm like, if he has 47 home runs, I don't give a what his average is. I don't care. And that's the same thing with Andrew Vaughn, but he's more of a complete hitter, so we haven't seen that yet. If he can hit in the 270s and give us 30, baby, we're in. We're out there. If he hits 35, Alex, even more. But that's a long slog. He's at 21 home runs, and that's pretty much a full season in his first full season at first base. So I don't see him hitting 14 more home runs in a year in the near future.
I don't care that much about the 50 extra base hits, 51 extra base hits, and 21 homers, 30 doubles, 2 triples.
Baby, speed.
Slugging percentage was about the same as 2022, 429. The issue, though, is the on-base percentage. Again, like we've been sold that this is somebody that can discern the strike zone, somebody that can walk, and Andrew Benintendi's leading the team with an on-base percentage of 326. That's just not going to cut it for a major league team. Andrew Vaughn, if his on-base percentage was around, 360, 370, let's go.
Oh, no.
370?
No, wow.
No, my God.
Way.
He'd be walking.
That'd be really good.
He would be awesome. That's like ceiling. That's ceiling Andrew Vaughn.
Am I crazy here?
That's hitting the ceiling Andrew Vaughn for me.
Let's get him up to 330 first.
Let's. How bad is my math here?
No, I'm saying that's a good number, but I think that's like maxed out, but like 90 percentile Andrew Vaughn.
I mean, okay, so his walk rate's at 5.9.
Yeah.
I think it could be at 10.
Just double it, yeah.
Yeah, right. That wouldn't be at like 370. Is that not my math?
No, that's right there. I'm just saying that's
say
the best that Andrew Vaughn could do. You're asking, you're saying it as if it's like he could just hit 360, as if he's got more in there than 360. I think 360 is hitting the ceiling for him.
Not only that, you're talking to two guys who just watched every game the White Sox played this year, and the mere suggestion of somebody reaching base at a 370 clip is startling to us.
That's true. I don't know. If his walk rate was mirroring where it was in his rookie year, around 8.7, I'd be happier with him. But right now, it's
was that on base that year?
Well, his average was horrible. So, I mean, his average was 235, so his on-base percentage was 309. but his average was 271 in 2022. But his on-base percentage was 321, 258 in this year. His average 314. His on-base percentage in 2023. So I mean, it's basically the average that brought it down that much in 2021. Yeah, I mean, I think the Zips projection was around 28 homers for Vaughn, and you're right that just 21 is just not going to cut it. And even then, it still like led the league or led the team outside of Luis Robert Jr. and I guess Jake Berger if he still counts. So it's just not where the White Sox need to be. But again, they lost 101 games. The one thing I did want to bring up was Tim Elko. This is not a guy that we have brought up. I don't know if this is somebody that Andrew Vaughn should be looking in the rearview mirror at. Tim Elko was drafted when 10th round in the 2022 draft out of Ole Miss, and in 2022 was all right in rookie ball in single A, 700 OPS, but in Kannapolis, a cool 916 OPS, then got the call up to Winston-Salem, had an OPS of 943, cooled off a little bit in Birmingham, only 723 OPS, but Tim Elko in low A, advanced A, and double A, 25 doubles, 28 homers, and an on-base percentage at 347. I mean,
plays.
Is that somebody that Andrew Vaughn should be on the? I mean, he's 10th rounder.
I mean, I know people are excited about him because he hits bombs. He hits a lot of bombs. But no, as Vinny said, I think they're going to give Andrew Vaughn as much chance to fail as they can. But the numbers, if they continue for next year, maybe in 2025, they're like, might have to trade Andrew because Elko's out there killing AA again, and he killed AAA again. So he's not young too. I think Tim Elko's
24.
24. So he's up there in age. He's not a young spring chicken, but yeah, I could see Tim Elko in 2025 being a competition for Andrew Vaughn, especially if Vaughn doesn't turn that bat into a power bat.
Well, that's the thing too. It's not going to be a situation where they're just like, nope, we've already done with Andrew, or we've already committed to Andrew Vaughn. Too bad if someone's in the minor leagues hitting 40 homers or something like that. You can hit your way into a job, and I don't think people should be afraid that there's just a blockade that nobody can ever get through. But the potential that Andrew Vaughn has is obviously very, very enticing to the White Sox, has been for some time, and will continue to be into the future. I don't believe that a couple years of mediocre numbers is going to change what they think he can be one day. But that being said, maybe they've got we just want a whole team of Ole Miss guys in the future. So
maybe. I mean, you could get Lance Lynn back, right?
Bring Lance Lynn back. They've got Elko. They've got Gonzalez. They drafted the catcher this year too, I think. So they're really going to put the South in South Side.
A little bit more Jake Owen concerts.
Oh, God, no. Didn't they get canceled?
No,
the Vanilla Ice got canceled.
Which is better. I would rather go and see a Jake Owen concert than Vanilla Ice.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've been to a Vanilla Ice concert. It was terrible. Well, his part was.
What are you chewing?
You're allowed to swallow the drink.
I was drinking some liquid death.
It's fine.
I almost liquid died.
I mean, the one thing with Vaughn, to wrap this up, like, there's no silver lining where you bring up the outs above average, and he's tied with Spencer Torkelson at -5 for first base outs above average. But Torkelson in his last 51 games had a stretch of an OPS of 898, had 16 homers, 11 doubles, slug percentage of 559. Like,
who cares if the defense isn't great if that's what he's doing with the bat, right?
Right, and we really never saw that silver lining from Vaughn. We just kind of saw steady mediocrity for 2023.
And that's how you end up with an OPS plus right at 100.
Yeah, right. So not good. Anyways, we'll get out and maybe we'll answer William's question here. After looking at 2023, would have been a mistake to bring Jose Abreu back? He said, bottom line, would you rather have Vaughn or Abreu?
My opinion from last offseason has not changed. Herb, you always say you don't pay for what someone has done, you pay for what they're going to do.
Yeah.
When someone has done what Jose Abreu did over 10 years, it says to me that there's a much better chance that he is going to repeat that than a guy who has never done it before. But it's a question with some nuance, obviously.
Yeah.
If you are asking me who I want in 2027, you know what I mean? It's going to be a different question than who do I want in 2024.
Yeah, I still would go with Abreu just because I think the team collapsed when he left. But the numbers for Vaughn and Abreu are very similar. Vaughn hit more home runs.
Except salary.
Abreu was hurt
Yes.
When?
this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, right, with his back.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Nice excuse for him. We'll see. He's not on my team. I don't care. Anyways, that's going to do it.
Still bashing Abreu. The dude plays in Houston now, and you're still bashing
I
him.
don't like him. I don't like Houston. I never said that I had to like him. Finally, we could save it. Aaron Nola's really good. That was what I was going to say.
Maybe we'll talk about that in the future.
Maybe. There's
Future.
There's
You
two
come back.
pitchers since 2017 with over 1,200 innings pitched. Garrett Cole and Aaron Nola. One of those guys got $300 million. Aaron Nola won't. But hey, I mean, he's 30 years old, pitches a ton, really good in the postseason. Maybe it'd be worth sprinkling a couple coins.
I know the White Sox can trade for his brother at San Diego. Getting Austin Nola here.
Hey,
And then Aaron?
he could be like a Ben Zobrist type. He plays a lot of different positions. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. Thank you to Sarah for producing the show.
Thanks.
We got CHGO Bulls coming up in just a few seconds, so stay tuned to Matt, Big Dave, and Will. I'm Sean Anderson. You can find me at Sean_W_Anderson. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.